get in. There we go. Burnley 5, QPR 0. Now, that was an absolutely unbelievable complete display. Like, we were absolute rampant from minute one. We looked like we could have scored 7 or 8 today. We were brilliant. We didn't show any signs that there was a hint of a hangover or a drop off in energy levels or performance levels. It just looked like we were at our absolute best, firing on all cylinders, which I think is just an absolute sentiment to this team and the manager and what he's done. It's just, yeah, the game, it was just brilliant. It was just an absolutely brilliant. It's hard to sort of summarise it into words, which obviously is going to be difficult for this fan reaction, but I'm just so... I'm not saying I'm shocked, but I'm just so like surprised of the result. Like I never thought we wouldn't win today. I just thought it might have been a bit closer and we might have been a bit leggy, but we were absolutely rampant. And the miles that them lads have put in today is astonishing. After the effort they put in on Monday, the pressure release on Monday, and the celebrations Monday night, and it was just so impressive to see that they've gone all the way down to London again a few days later and really delivered a very, very, very impressive performance, which is an absolute testament to the lads and to Scott Parker and his coaching staff, that they've kept them lads, they've let the lads celebrate and they've had their time, to enjoy it and they've earned the right to enjoy that reward of getting promoted, but to get them straight back on the horse and get them pushing for that title, it was a real statement of intent that they want that title, that that's what their aim is they're going to go for that title. You can see that a mile off. So yeah, very impressive. I thought Brownhill had a great game again. He looked like he's really stepped on another level again. From Monday night, he sort of ran the show Monday night a little bit, but today he were up there, with most, his little touches and his passes, and he set up that first one of the earlier goals, and it was just brilliant. That little spin and then that little flick of nutmeg through to I think it was Fleming. I might be wrong, but he was just superb. And I have to give a really big shout out to Koleosho, to be fair. Like, I have to give a really big shout out. Like, in my eyes, I thought he was just done. He was gone. We'd never see him in a Burnley shirt again, sort of thing. But he's kept at it and he's kept himself fit and sharp. And when he's come in, he's given an absolute incredible performance today. Like, I sort of joked about it on Twitter and was like, oh, like that new number 30. He's decent. Where's he been all season? And he was direct. He was fast. He was powerful. He had intent every time he had the ball. And like I say, he got his assists and he was brilliant. So yeah, massive shout out to Koleosho for that. I think Fleming had an outstanding game, really, in considering I thought he was very good. He managed the empty spaces pretty well, and like I say, got his 2 goals. And for a player that knew that was his last game, you could sort of last game this season. Sorry, because obviously he can't play against Millwall. You could sort of tell that he wanted to give everything today. He had nothing to lose. He wanted to give absolutely everything, and I'm glad he got his 2 goals and got his brace. And he's deserved it. He sort of capped off he's capped off an okay sort of season for him. I think he's really coming to his own away from home, and he's gotten some important goals for us. So I think he gets sort of the appreciation off the fans that he deserves after a pretty good season. Again, Josh Cullen, I'm glad he got a goal because he deserves it. He just kept ticking over. But again, we have to go back to the whole team as a collective. But 32 games unbeaten, we've just equalled the clean sheet record. We're in the history books, as it were. We're gonna go on and hopefully get that clean sheet again, and we can claim that record outright. But 32 wins on the bounce is unbelievable. Like, that is utter dominance, I think. Forget the results. But I mean, the results are impressive. They've got us where we need to be. But 32 games unbeaten is absolute league domination. It's imperious. And you just know that other teams just don't want to play us. They just don't want to play Burnley this season. They just they know that they're going to get beat, or the very best is they're going to get a point. You know what? Imagine going into the game knowing the very best you can achieve week in, week out against a team is just a point, and it's just so impressive. And I think this has to go down as probably our best promotion, if I'm being honest. It has to. You know, I know I've done a bit of a 180 on my opinion on Scott Parker, but the domination, the defensive record, the clarity in performance and clarity in game plan, and it's so impressive. And you know, I said about a week ago that I weren't really bothered about not getting the title, but now I think I'm quite desperate for that title actually. That these lads need crowning. You know, they need that silver at the end of the season to put a stamp on what they've done. You know, even if they don't, it can't be taken away. But I think we need that top trifle, that title. Don't matter trifle at the minute actually, but we need that title at the end of the season to sort of stamp these lads' names in history and give them that, you know, that trophy to lift at the end. You know, the proper trophy, not the crappy second place tin pot thing that Sky Bet invented. You know, they need that first place title. I think it'd really cement what Scott Parker's done and really validate what the lads have done and like I say, give them that moment of glory which they deserve. I think back to the game, I thought to say it was a 5-0 game, it was quite a non-event. You know, it was weird to say. It was we just dominated. We give them. Our two wide players gave their fullbacks an absolute nightmare. Like that poor Jimmy Dunny, you know, he's an ex-Burnley lad, but he got the absolute runaround. Like he looked like he just wanted to get off that pitch as quick as possible. He just got absolutely run ragged from minute one. Just nice, you know. We got players coming back. You know, we've put we got Sarmiento in, got him a few goals, which was good. Forgot to mention Aaron Ramsey. Like what a moment for him. Like you could really tell even before the game that the lads were so excited for him. They were so happy for him to get on that pitch. Even before the game, there was videos of him walking into the stadium, and you know you could see Rambo's face. He was like very, almost like in awe of the situation, and he couldn't believe that he finally made it. And to get his minutes at the end, it was really important that, and hopefully we can see a few more on the last game of the season. You know, if we're in a comfortable position again and we're winning the game and we can get him back on the pitch again and let him have another moment in front of Turf Moor, which I think would really help him sign off this horrendous injury and put it to bed and you know, really step forward into the pre-season and push on. So really good to see him. I was actually surprised in Parker's squad selection. I thought it'd be a lot different to that of Monday night, but you know, he only made the one change, so again, shows an intent from Parker that he wants to win that title. I said on Full-Time Show on Wednesday, I think it was, that I think Parker wants this title a lot. You know, he's got playoffs, he's got second place. He wants that title for himself, for his own little trophy cabinet, which is fine. Managers are allowed to have ambition and, you know, want to get bits of silverware as and when. It's good. You know, it's good for their careers as well as it's good for us. So I think he'll want it, and I don't think he'll let the players drop. And you can tell that the players are responding to that, and they want to do it for him, I think, as well. You know, a lot of players after a big release like that would dip. You know, there would be a dip in performance, but I think there just isn't a dip in performance at all. You know, there just isn't. If anything, we actually got better. I don't know whether that was because QPR was so crap, but I feel like the levels actually went up. We feel like we ran even harder, we pressed even harder, and then that moment, I think it was sort of, I don't know, it might have been halfway through the first half. I think we're 3-0 up actually, and their lad Edwards gets it out wide, and he's like bearing down on our fullback, and then all of a sudden they just swarm on him like a pack of wolves, and it's like in one shot there's no players, and the next shot there's like 9 players there, and you know, you do that when you're sort of 1-0 down and you have to stay to win the league, and you're fighting for all fronts, and to be doing that at 3-0 up and when you've already got promotion, I think it's a massive sort of nod to the willingness of fight to the players for Scott Parker, and that's only going to do us in good stead going forward for next season. If players want to fight for Scott Parker as well as the club, then yeah, so be it. But I'll wrap this up because I'm nearly at 10 minutes. I don't like to do more than that really, but very impressive win. I think it sends a bit of a message to Leeds, just to see if they're up for the fight for the title, just to let them know that you know, they have got a little bit of a title race. We're just not going to lie down and let them win the league now that, you know, we're going to be in it. And like I say, we're just hoping that Bristol City can do us a favour on Monday night. You know, they've got a big result to get. You know, the results have, I think, gone their way this weekend, so they can cement the place in the playoffs. So hopefully they'll do a job on Leeds for us and maybe nick a point, potentially even a win, which would put us in the driving seat against Millwall now. Puts us in a bit of a conundrum with Rovers winning, doesn't it? And, you know, if we beat Millwall, it opens the door of them to the playoffs, which we didn't think we'd be saying a few weeks ago after their fall off. But in all honesty, I don't really care what happens to Rovers. They can go for it. They can do playoffs. I'm not bothered. Don't really care. Or what finish? You know, we just have to win that game. I don't really care what it means for them. We just got to do our bit and get our hands on that silverware. That's what I think the next goal is now, and set us up for next season. So yeah, buzzing with the win. Happy with it again, 3 points. But more importantly, that performance was absolutely unbelievable. And yeah, well happy with that. Like proper happy. So. And a shout out to Padiham as well. I went to watch Padiham this afternoon straight after the game. Went to Ramsbottom. They won 2-1 in the playoff semi-final, so they're in the final now. So shout out to Mozza and the lads that they've done a good job, and I'll go watch them in the final and see if they can get promoted. So up the Stokes, but more importantly, up them Clarets. Come on.